Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In the previous session, there was a question regarding the treatment part. And I was remembering that on day one, Dr. Attu from AIMS, he was referring that there cannot be a single model of treatment which is effective for all the persons who are into drugs. So I would like to take you to a small journey which we did and we're still going through that journey in the state of Punjab. In the past few years, that what we did and what are the services which have been planned and which were planned very well but were not very effective, then we had to shift to some other modalities and we had to add a couple of more things, and what was called Dr. Rao called the menu of options. When we talk about Punjab, the first thing comes to mind in most of the people's mind is the religion and faith, and no presentation and no talk can be complete without mentioning the Golden Temple in Amritsar in the state of Punjab, and otherwise also the state is full of religious places and full of faith, and also it has been known for its sacrifices and the valor and of course the Bhangra. Over the last few years, the state of Punjab has been in the limelight, in the news, and on the social media also, because of many wrong reasons. And one of the biggest is the drug menace. And these were the days, and these are the days which are much scarier than the militancy days. It was always, every day there was some kind of news. The newspaper was full of different news items like Punjab's war on drugs, or the drugs are finishing Punjab, the state of Punjab, the youth of Punjab, and the war on living or dead, so many cases of drug trafficking and drug peddling. Cut and paste FIRs were mentioned also, that in every case, whosoever the person has been caught, the same kind of FIR has been registered against all the persons. And there was some problem with the drug end users as well as the doctors or the lawyers, and most of the things that should have been happening was not happening. There were no records of deaths, the overdose deaths, or what we call is drug-related deaths. And Punjab smuggler emerged to be supplying synthetic drugs to whole of the state. And IIM Ahmedabad study mentioned that most of the Punjabi songs do mention the drugs and violence in their videos and in the lyrics. And the scenario kept on deteriorating from alcohol, or I should say from milk and lassi to alcohol, then to heroin chasing, and then heroin injectors. At that point of time, a Punjab model of de-addiction was planned. What we called it Punjab pyramid model of de-addiction. It has three levels: tertiary level, intermediate level, and the community-based level. At the tertiary level, we planned 5 model de-addiction centers, which have still they are existing actually, which have been attached to the medical colleges. And at the intermediate level, the de-addiction centers at the district hospital and the subdivisional hospitals, where the de-addiction indoor facility has been made available along with the psychiatrist and whatever the staff is required to run a de-addiction facility. At the community-based level, we started running the de-addiction program in the community health centers. We trained all the medical officers who were there in the community health centers in whole of the state. There were around 120 medical officers in the CHCs. We trained them regarding basics of the drugs and the OPD-based treatment, which can be given, like the person who has been taking small quantity of alcohol or small quantity of dode or poppy husk, etc. And in case the need is there, these patients can be referred to the district or subdivisional hospital. So that way this pyramid model of de-addiction was started. And there was nothing wrong in that program. And in fact, this program was published in the Indian Journal of Psychiatry. And it was drafted by the state government along with the PGH Chandigarh people. We were basically working on the drug demand reduction strategy, in which 5 50-bedded model de-addiction centers were started. 32 de-addiction centers, we gave them the name Navjeevan Kendras. These were 10 to 30 bedded in the district and subdivisional hospitals. 96 private de-addiction centers, 20 government rehabilitation centers, and 53 private rehabilitation centers. So this was the state of affairs, the kind of services we have been given to cater the drug-using population in the state. And most of these services were indoor-based. We call it IPD-based treatment services. And then there came a study which was done in the state of Punjab Opioid Dependence Survey, conducted by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment with the help of SPYM, with the help of Government of Punjab and All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS New Delhi. The figures were alarming in this survey. Punjab has a huge population of opioid dependent people. Dependence is 2.3 opioid. We are talking about opioid cases only, 2.3 lakhs. And users were 8.6 lakh. Opiate dependence is spread across the state. Unlike we believe that it is more rampant in the border areas, it was all over the state. The similar pattern was there. Heroin is the most widely used opioid. It poses a significant burden on the society as well as on the governments. There is a huge illegal market of opioid drugs in Punjab. 7,500 crores of business was being done. And most importantly, there is a wide gap between availability of treatment services despite huge demand. Despite the fact that we have been giving so many de-addiction services, so many de-addiction centers, and in total there were around 5,000 beds available in the whole of the state, but still they were not being utilized. And evidence-based and preferred treatment options is not widely available. Less than 10% of opioid-dependent population has received OST ever. So this was the findings that came out of the study and along with the recommendations. In 2017, Indian Council of Medical Research and PGH Chandigarh conducted another survey. This was for all the drugs, not only opioids, all the drugs. In that survey, it was found that 1 in 6 persons in Punjab were dependent on any substance. Around 22 lakh alcohol users were, dependent persons were there. And 1 in 87 were currently dependent on illicit drugs. So this was again alarming because that the study by AIIMS was conducted for opioids, and this was household survey and was conducted for all the drugs, including alcohol and tobacco. And then the people of Punjab had a big harsh slap on their faces. The people living in Punjab or Punjabis living outside the Punjab, Urta Punjab. That was a real shameful thing for all of us. And in fact, the movie was very informative. So many things which even we didn't know sitting at the place, we came to know from the movie that so many things were highlighted over there. At that point of time, on the ground, we could sense that things are not getting well. We have been giving so many of the de-addiction services, different kinds of de-addiction services in the government setup, in the private setup. Many of the services, including the OST clinics, NACO-run OST clinics, and the 2 methadone clinics are there in the state of Punjab. Despite that, the things were not getting fine. In fact, there was deterioration, and we could sense it on the ground. And then this study, which was discussed yesterday, magnitude of substance use in India, and it was no surprise for us. Alcohol use, 27 lakh. Alcohol dependence, 27 lakhs. In the PGA study, it was 22 lakhs, and you can see that within a period of 1 to 2 years, the figure reached to 27 from 22 lakhs. Cannabis, 5.7 lakhs problem users, and Punjab is second in the list after Uttar Pradesh. Opioids, 7.2 lakhs problem users. And in the previous study, which was released in 2015 by AIMS and Ministry of Social Justice, 3.2 lakhs were dependent and 8.6 lakhs were users. The injecting drug users, 88 lakhs, which is the total figure of whole of the country is 8.5 crores. Out of that, 88 lakhs were there in the state of Punjab. And opioid use is almost 3 times of the word figure and is ever increasing. We went back to the basics. Instead of going all the way to the demand reduction side, we started thinking on the harm reduction strategies also. And I do remember that the first time I attended a training on OST was in 2008 under Dr. Rajat Ray from AIMS and with Dr. Atul Ambekar and Dr. Anju Dhawan. So we planned this medication-assisted treatment. When the survey, this recent survey was started, before the start of the survey, we had already started working on this medication-assisted treatment program. We named it as OAT, Outpatient Opioid Assisted Treatment. The idea behind this was we need an evidence-based treatment. The decentralization of services were needed from the district and sub-divisional hospital to the periphery. Preferably, OPD-based treatments were required, which can cater a large number of patients at any given point of time. The treatment modality which is effective and feasible in the current scenario. It is a collaborative initiative of State Health Department, Special Task Force under the Police Department, Punjab SACS, SPYM, which has been working as TSU in the state of Punjab. A series of meetings were held and number of brainstorming sessions. Mr. Manish, I suppose, is here. He knows how the meetings went and what were the things we had to discuss. And we had to sensitize and advocate the policymakers also. But still, after doing all this, all the policymakers, all the higher officials were apprehensive regarding this treatment program. And so we planned a pilot study. Before rolling out the program, we planned to do a pilot study on this. A pilot study was planned in 3 districts in the state. These were Amritsar, Taran and Moga, where we thought that this prevalence of heroin use and opioid use is quite high. Especially the use of heroin is quite high. All the district hospitals or the sub-divisional hospitals and all the community health centers were taken into this program, in this pilot program. And it was planned to start this pilot program in these 3 districts. And was it so easy to implement this program like this? Because state government was involved, so the enforcement agencies were involved, and we had the TSU with us and other agencies with us. A big no. Because we planned a curriculum. We had taken most of the things from the curriculum, the guidelines which have been made by NACO OST clinics. The structure for the OAT clinic was planned, but the state and the Department of Health was not in a state to recruit new employees for this very program. And it was told to us that if you want to go ahead with this program, the existing staff will be utilized. And who will train them? The question was who will train them and who is authorized to train them. Fortunately or unfortunately, there were 3 master trainers in whole of the state, and along with a team of PSACs and SPYM for the working on the psychosocial interventions and record keeping. In fact, I am one of the master trainers. We got training by NACO way back in 2010, and we never knew that that training will be utilized for this program. And we have been authorized to conduct training. We were authorized to conduct trainings in different parts of the country, but that never happened because NACO had some other changed the policy to some other level. So that training program, that TOT, that was done way back in 2010, that we utilized for this program. 3 master trainers were there, and in fact, I would like to. Most of you might have heard the name of Dr. Rana Ranveer Singh from Taran Taran. He should be the person who should be standing here to give this presentation, but unfortunately he left the job and went back to his private practice. So we were the 3 master trainers who conducted the training programs for all the staff. A 5 days training program was planned. A curriculum was developed, of course, by SPYM people. Manish ji, who is sitting at Chandigarh, he planned the program. Medical officers, staff nurses, counselors working in the addiction centers, working in rehabilitation centers, or in any project, whichever is there in the health institution, were taken. Data entry operator in any program, wherever they are sitting, wherever they are working, they were taken. And the OAT pilot project was rolled out. So this was came into the news, like Punjab launches OPD for rehabilitating drug addicts. OAT centers in 3 districts in Punjab has plan that's work in progress. But we didn't stop the training programs. In the meanwhile, we continued with the trainings for other districts. The staff from other districts, we kept on training them. And some of the medical officers, we deputed them into the de-addiction centers under the psychiatrist so that they can get this 3 months training, because it was mandated there in the rules, Punjab Substance Use Disorder rules, that the medicine, prescription of the medicine, buprenorphine, can be done by a psychiatrist or a medical officer who has taken a 3 months training under the psychiatrist. So we, along with that, we kept on training those medical officers in the de-addiction centers also. After 3 months, after this pilot project, which started in October 2017, we rolled out this OAT program in whole of the state in April 2018. The structure of the OAT clinic, all the health institutions were asked to give 4 rooms or at least 2 rooms with partitions, 2 computers with internet connections, urine testing kits for morphine, THC, tramadol, buprenorphine and benzodiazepines, and rest of the routine equipment needed to establish a clinic. Client registration procedure. The beauty of this program lies in that online registration. The client comes to the OAT clinic, he undergoes the urine testing. If that client comes out to be positive for morphine, tramadol or buprenorphine, the client is registered using its Aadhaar card. This kind of, when you visit the username, password have been issued to all the staff members, and whenever they open their account, this kind of appears on this screen. New registration, new client is registered at the level of data entry operator if the client is found out to be positive. And all the history regarding the drug abuse is taken, and it's mentioned in that this software only. And patient's revisit is written over there whenever patient is supposed to revisit the medical officer. When the counselor fills the form, whenever the counselor gives the appointment to the client, that date will appear in that column. Medicine distribution, whatever the medicine, whatever the dose has been prescribed by the medical officer or the psychiatrist, that appears in that column. And in the end, a UID number is generated for the client. Besides this substance use history, other parameters are also taken into account regarding education level, regarding occupation, regarding all whatever we know that whatever is there in the history to be taken into account that, of any client that is there in that software. So like this, the history regarding his family, history regarding the injecting using practices, high risk behavior, unsafe sexual practices, everything is recorded in that client, this software used for that particular client. And current scenario is that currently we have 174 OAT clinics in whole of the state, including 8 in the central jails. And total number of clients that those have been registered are 72 till 25th of March. And out of those, 67,000, more than 67,000 have revisited. I mean, they have. And in fact, we believe that this is a big revolution, and we believe that this is a big achievement that at a given point of time, enrolling 72,000 clients in the state is a big achievement. And it's not only this that the software they are using at the OAT clinic, they are monitoring all the activities. The monitoring is done at the state headquarters also. You can see that OAT clinics, total number of patients, dose decrease, dose increase, whatever the dose, in fact, if the dose of any client is altered, that is projected in the state headquarters software also. And total number, even if one client is registered on that particular day, that will appear in the state headquarters software. And no change. And in fact, we have started enrolling the private clinics also who have been working in this substitution therapy with buprenorphine. So we have, they have also started this online mechanism. And OAT clinics, whatever the medicine, whatever the quantity of medicine that has been dispensed, that also appears in the state headquarters software. The state authorities can monitor, means they regularly keep on monitoring their services. And what is the difference between OAT and OST? The biggest difference is it caters both the IDUs as well as non-IDUs, opioid users. The age has been reduced in the OAT program from 18 to 16 years. And in a case of a person less than 18 years, the consent form is signed by his guardian, his or her guardian. The medicine is prescribed by a psychiatrist or the medical officer with 3 months training. Instead of plain buprenorphine, we are using buprenorphine and naloxone combination. Using the UID, the unique identification number that has been generated for the client can take that medicine for a day from any of the 174 clinics, because all the systems are online, networking is there. Except for the 8 clinics, those OAT clinics which are in the prisons, rest of the 166 clinics, the client can visit and can take the dose of the medicine from that particular clinic. And if he takes the medicine from that clinic for that day, the client dose sheet will be locked. He cannot take the medicine from 2 places on one day. And if unfortunately the client has to go to the prison for some reason, he can take the medicine from the prison. Or some person from the prison he comes out and he is taking medicine in the OAT clinic in the prison, he can, using that UID number, he can take the medicine from the clinics outside the prison also. There is a provision of carry home medicine after 3 months of regular treatment and of course with the urine screening. And one thing that was added by our policy makers, that it cannot go lifelong like this. We cannot give the treatment like this for lifelong, unlike the treatment in OST clinics. So we have they fixed the time period to 1 year. That after 1 year, if the client is stable, the family members, of course, consulting with in consultation with the family members and client and the counselor, the dose will start decreasing the dose. We start tapering off the dose, and after switching off the buprenorphine, the clients will be put on naltrexone. The way forward, we have planned to establish more than 200 clinics so that any client will not have to go more than 10 kilometers to take the medicine. Mobile oat clinics, like the AIMS people were mentioning yesterday, they have started methadone mobile clinic. We are planning to start this mobile oat clinics. Time slots for women or separate oat clinics for women is there in the pipeline. We'll strengthen our outreach activities. We are planning to start. In fact, we have started this skill development and employment generation in the oat clinics. And we'll have to focus more on the psychosocial interventions. Thank you so much.